Outside in the street, it was scarcely raining at all, but the wind raged upward from the shore below, bringing with it the blood-like smell of the sea. The crashing waves seemed very near, almost at his feet. He looked down as he walked along. At each mound of garbage there were cats. They ran across in front of him constantly from one pile to another. As Mokhtar reached his door and pulled out his key, he had the feeling that he was about to perform an irrevocable act, that stepping inside would be a gesture of finality. Mokhtar does go on to perform an atrocious, irrevocable act, one that the wind and the sea not only seem to foreshadow, but in fact to prescribe. While many of the stories in The Delicate Prey take place in foreign terrains, and a number of them take place in the desert, Bowles proves he can use landscape effectively in an urban setting as well. In the story How Many Midnights, a young woman, June, is given the keys to her fiancé's Manhattan apartment and arrives early to prepare for their first night together. As she arranges the candles and pushes the divan in front of the fireplace, wanting the place to be perfect before he got there, a storm begins outside. The violet sky turns to black. The wind becomes a gale, and the snow hisses against the windows. She bursts into tears as she waits for her love to come home, fearing what has become of him and their relationship. The confinement of the space and her desire to make order out of objects in his apartment while the blizzard rages demonstrate that exotic settings aren't required for Bowles to be commanding in his descriptions of the struggles between humans and nature. I recently reread The Delicate Prey outside during an almost oppressively quiet and sunny week, and I was struck by Bowles's use of sound. Bowles studied music composition with Aaron Copland and wrote many musical scores, so it's not surprising that sound influences his writing as much as landscape. In fact, often the two are conjoined such that the sound of nature influences a character's behavior. In At Paso Rojo, a woman named Shalia and her sister visit their brother on his ranch after the death of their mother. While sitting on the veranda by her bedroom on her first night at the ranch, Shalia notices that the wall was faced with small stones which had been plastered over and whitewashed indifferently, so that the surface was very rough and full of large holes. All the holes, large and small, were lined with whitish funnels. She could see the long, agile legs of the spiders that lived inside, sticking out beyond some of the funnels. That night, Shalia pulls her mattress away from the walls and into the middle of the room, but has difficulty sleeping. The sound of the nocturnal insects was unbearably loud, an endless, savage scream above the noise of the wind. After an hour or so, she rises, still in her nightgown, and goes to sit on the veranda. She put the lamp where it had been before, by the wall, and turned her chair to face it. She sat watching the wall until very late. Her confrontation of what, or who, upsets her is a theme in the rest of the story as well. In The Echo, a young American woman named Eileen travels to Colombia to visit her mother and her mother's female companion. From the start of Eileen's stay, the roar of the nearby waterfall disturbs her, and she takes daily refuge on a breezeless patio. It was a stifling, airless spot, but the sound of the bees covered that of the waterfall. Both Shalia and Eileen's initial discomfort in their destinations is triggered and magnified by the sounds of the landscape. But regardless of whether these women confront the sounds as Shalia does, or try to sequester themselves as Eileen does, they both end up committing acts of violence toward a person who is either indigenous to or representative of the terrain to which they've traveled. Bowles writes about travelers and locals with equal mastery, and though he's a careful writer, he's not a timid one. More happens in a single Paul Bowles story than in a typical novel by another author. The Delicate Prey is a fantastic and essential addition to the art of the story series because in each and every story in this collection, a character is pushed to extremes, which is the crux of all drama, of all storytelling. It's interesting to note how many thefts, small to large, take place at the start of these stories. Sometimes a character has been robbed of cigarettes or a book, and other times of a wife or a mother. And these losses, coupled with the sound